Hello.
It is wonderful to see you after like a good 3-week hiatus.
It is. And
Cheers.
Happy belated birthday.
Thank you, my
I'm
darling.
going to shower you with more affections. I just want to say...
She's phenomenal at showering with affection. Just your words. That alone hit the right chord, and it just you're so magical with words.
I appreciate that. I try to be really intentional with them. However, when I'm angry, sometimes...
I mean, you are intentional, you are thoughtful, and yet on top of it, just your vocabulary and the way you string the words together, right? All of those things eventually become the final product, and the final outcome though is making the other person feel very seen, very warm, very singular.
I love that.
It doesn't feel chitchy or hallmarky or Instagrammy. Like I mean, seriously, you have such a great way with words. So
I try to make people feel held. So when I try to encourage people to open up, I was like, come be seen, come be heard, and come be held. Let me behold you.
oh my God, that is beautifully done. Welcome to Big Venus Energy, and you are with the beautiful Lo and Sharda here.
Very
Belated birthday.
sensational.
Sensational, I'll take it. So you're talking about being held, and I read this thing, and I had tears in my eyes when I read it, because it just... So I'm usually not a very, when I was young, I would be a very horoscopy person, because, which teenage girl is not? And then I became less and less so, given just the world I came in and how much astrology was used to sort of put limitations in your head, or, force your beliefs of sorts, right? But you and I mean, I have evolved a little, right? And you educate me on the elements of energy and using all of this as part of support system, right? It need not be something just to blindly rely. When I read this thing about Scorpio, and it said, your desire to fix everything and everyone is in fact your inner child crying out to be held, nurtured, and loved. You see things clearly, and your only wish is to help others see it too. Remember that you don't need to be a martyr to make others happy. You're already enough just the way you are. And it just I do go out of my way to be very complimentary with my words, very embracing of people, right? Very, very much making everybody feel like they are important, right? I'm very nurturing in that regard. The way I might do it is like, it might be different. I'm like very vivacious and high energy, but I definitely put others and their needs, and I'm very perceptive and all of that stuff. What hit me was, as the adult woman I am, I have completely missed the boat on doing that for my inner child.
Right.
I see everybody else as I see the best in people. I see the child in everybody. I see the positive in everything. I want to give multiple chances to people. And yet I get frustrated when others don't do that to me. And I'm like, I keep looking for it outside when I myself am forgetting to look inside to what my inner child had been wanting and craving and seeking and yearning. And I'm like, I was just in tears when I read this.
Yes. And you're realizing, because that small person inside of you finally felt seen and was finally able to get in front of your grown-up Sharda self. We have so much going on, so sometimes it's hard to reparent yourself. Sometimes we forget and we leave behind that child because we're grown, right?
Yeah.
We think that, you know, with our evolution of being and you know, having so much more responsibility, that we sometimes forget the child within. And I think that this year especially, for me, has been really profound, as I have some estrangement from my father figure. That I watched a show the other day, and this girl is not wanting her dad to leave and is chasing the car down the driveway and is like, daddy, don't go. And he jumps out and gives her a big hug, and I'm just sitting there tearing up, and I have to stop and talk about what that feels like, because now there's this little girl inside of me that's hurting. And what do I do? How do you reparent yourself? And I want to hear more about your inner child, and when you say that the nurturing, where there was maybe rigidity, did your inner child not get to flourish? What can we do, or what can you do to, you know, nurture your inner child more?
I'm working on it. I'm figuring certain things out. I think the first thing was getting my adult woman be confident and comfortable in who I am.
Right.
And my decision making. One thing that I noticed was, if there was a argument and, you know, a difference in perspective, whether it is me arguing with my sister, or whether it is arguing with my husband, or, you know, with parents, like over the years I've noticed, even, you know, AJ, like my kid, friends, co-workers, I've noticed that, hey, I have to invalidate my feelings when I validate their feelings. Right? Think about any disagreement, you know, that's not what you should have felt. You should have felt that. Whatever that is. I'm trying to come up with an example.
I mean, it's invalidation.
It is totally invalidation, right? If, you know, hey, don't say that. Like, no, you are taking it wrong. This is the right way. And I don't think the other person means it as anything except, it can be as simple as, in my house, in our family, food plans, I'm usually the last person who will intervene and say no to anything people choose.
Right.
Because I'm easygoing. It's my sister and my husband and my brother-in-law who have to figure out where they want to eat together.
Right.
And I'm chill.
I'll join.
In general, right? And there are times when I have to, again, very simple things, right? I'm using a very simple example, but it manifests in so many different ways. And I have to first and foremost be like, I actually do not want that food. And then I have to say, guys, no, I'm not accommodating. Right? I am not. And so often accommodating others meant not accommodating me. So I have been working on the first and foremost the confidence of the adult self, and being singularly okay with me wanting what I want. If I don't have that, if you don't have that as an adult, I mean, even with your child and your parenting, if you're not confident and strong and able to be comfortable with the way you're approaching things, and, you know, then you can't project that well to your child, like the nurturing. So I'm working on that, and I'm now identifying what my inner child had been missing. And I'm almost here, though. Deep conversations with my mom this time around.
Oh, I love that.
And I was talking to her about, she's one of 4 daughters and the last of the daughters.
Oh, wow.
And she is the only one who finished high school. They all got married not finishing high school, all her older sisters, and she's the only one who finished high school. She went on to have a bachelor's in botany. Amazing. And master's in microbiology.
I love that.
Right? And she went on to have a career in financial services.
Mm-hmm.
She's good.
Pivot.
Yeah. Literally did not take a research job. So I was asking my mom, hey mom, how did it feel with the narrative around you that women or girl child is a burden to a family? Right? It was a narrative I heard around me, not from my parents.
Right.
But you're around millions of people and hundreds of people around you in a society. You just hear it, right? You hear it when you go to a function. You hear it when you go outside your house. You just hear it. You hear it. So I remember being about, this is where memory starts sitting in, right? I remember being about 4 or 5. And a couple of my cousins had, women cousins, and you could hear the narrative around any family gathering or functions that we would attend, weddings or whatever. To my mom and her sisters, people would say, God, you have a heavy responsibility and burden of marrying off your women children. And my sister was born when I was 7, and I would hear the narrative around my parents saying, you don't have a boy to take care of you. So, very young age, the fact that I'm somebody else's responsibility.
Yes.
So,
you're a weight.
And so I was talking to my mom about it, and she was saying, hey, it actually helped that my mom, her mom, my grandma, was a driving force in saying, go get educated. Go do your thing. Doesn't change the fact that in that, era, like having to get married was a thing. I mean, even in my era it was, but yeah, I'm working on it. I'm working on understanding. It's not just very simple to just turn all your things and make it all internal and internalize and say, oh, I'm going to change tomorrow. It's not possible. So understanding why, to me, is the best part of any puzzle.
Yes, and it's getting to see your truth.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that it's a gift, we are still revealing ourselves to ourselves and being able to comprehend and notice those things because you're self-reflecting. And I think that's really special, and I'm really excited and happy to see how you grow from here, because you're only going to continue to open up more to yourself and then express that to the rest of us, and it's a really tremendous gift. So thank you for being you.
I'm working on it.
Right?
So what is this?
Okay, so I got these, like, literally almost all of the sets of cards from this. Let me read to you a little bit about it. We are the Skin Deep, an Emmy Award-winning creative studio that explores human connection amidst a constantly growing digital landscape. Our purpose: to offer experiences that deepen relationships, stimulate conversation, and spark exploration of our humanity against an ever-changing backdrop of the world around us.
I'm loving this.
Yes.
I think we should have this for every session going forward, and we should do like a couple of cards.
I agree.
I think this is amazing.
They're really cool. I have literally, there's a few different decks that you can get. Please go to their site. This is called the sets.
This is the amusing edition, and this is the healing edition.
Yes, and there's even one that I have some.
We need to
racy
laugh.
Ones.
We need to be able to laugh.
Yes.
And I think laughter and calling out absurdity is a great place to start healing.
I agree, and I think that there's so much in our mundane kind of everyday lives that have so much humor in them to talk about. And it's just really special. So I got really passionate about being a vessel for connection for people.
Yeah.
Because it comes easily to me.
Look, this is what I say about her words. Being a vessel for connection for people. Who speaks this way?
Thank you.
Oh my wearing sweaters so the chills are not very obvious, and we're sitting in a very cozy room.
We're very cozy.
It feels like there is a fireplace here and there, but what? I mean, the way you speak is just, it's gorgeous.
I appreciate that.
All right. So where are we going today?
So we can look at a few of these.
Pick one and we will choose one and we will have a conversation about it.
Let's do this one. This one sounds very interesting.
Okay, so she's gonna put it on me.
What interests of yours do you think I'd hate, and why?
What interests of mine do I think you would hate?
Yes.
Oh my.
And then when I review the language on this card, I'm like, I don't think that I could hate anything that you're interested in.
I don't think so. And so let's talk about a few of my interests. That painting, I think you're a very artistic person. You would not hate. Doesn't matter what I'm reading, whether it is the cheesiest love novel or thriller or deep books. Even Harvard Business Review kind of stuff. You want anything reading you wouldn't hate. Me sitting in pajamas all day you wouldn't hate.
Oh no, I totally do that.
Love it. Cooking you wouldn't hate. I'm literally trying to think. Pilates. I mean, most of my stuff. I'm trying to think what you would. Bourbon.
I mean, maybe. I just wouldn't partake. So I think this is a really interesting thing when we talk about acceptance in people and being intolerant. Yeah, it's not really my thing, but I understand the complexities of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's cool and the nuance.
You drink, you're just not a big bourbon person. You're a wine person more so
and
than tequila. Yeah. Wine and tequila than bourbon. Maybe that.
Perhaps.
I mean, I don't think anything else in an interest-wise that you would hate. Real estate, we can talk about it. Mountains, beaches. No, I don't think there is.
No. The other ones of mine.
I mean, I do beat innocent animals and children, so that might be.
How dare you?
Oh my God, I can't even joke about something like that.
I know it's tough. I think that these feel like this one feels like a projection to me.
So you tell me yours. Is there anything?
So I think that there are sometimes that I can be a really polarizing person because I see the underlying impact of a lot of our decisions. So I think that the fact that I can look at something and then extricate what's wrong with it.
Yeah, but I think we love that overanalyzing side of ours. I think that's where we actually connected. We like to go more than an inch deep.
Yes, and that's the Scorpio energy of seeing beneath the surface of these
Absolutely.
things.
I don't think that's something we love about each other. That's something I love about you.
Right? I've been struggling with that because it's around the holiday.
And people love small talk during the holiday, don't they?
Oh, and they do these potluck things at the office, and I'm vegan, and
oh my God, I was thinking this yesterday. Anytime there is a community gathering with food, there needs to be, if no one else is aware of it, then there needs to be guidelines written. If you come, you need to bring 3 dishes. One has to be no meat and no animal products. It has to be completely plant-based. One has to be gluten-free and nut-free. Like, I think these are elements that people should. I love things in 3s. And then the 3rd dish can be your favorite dish that you want to bring.
Right.
But all 3 dishes should be dishes you would love to eat. Nothing can be, ugh.
Right.
I agree. That must have been very hard.
The suggestion that happened was, I can bring a hummus plate, but you don't really like feta, do you? And it's like, it's not that I don't like it. And then so I started to review how I feel about it, and
Isn't that very dismissive? You don't like feta, do you? I'm like,
I just choose not to partake, and that's what I tell people. It's a choice for me. It's not that I can't. I'm not deathly allergic to any of those things. None of them give me poor, health reactions or body reactions. But and we're still seeing kind of this play out in the broader spectrum of things. I don't want to dismiss or not talk about the atrocities that are ongoing, and I want to share some resources that we could donate to at the end.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, to me, the way I see this particular holiday is it represents kind of murderous consumption.
Oh my God, huge.
Because so when I was thinking about all of the dishes these people were bringing, there was no dish that didn't come at the expense of another life.
Yeah.
None of them, not even the vegetables they brought, had no suffering involved.
Well, because there was an animal product involved?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's just like all of the veggies. There's either cream or there's pork or a neck bone.
Yeah, sprinkled bacon. Because once I start overly, and this is our problem, sometimes we do go down a rabbit hole and we do overanalyze.
Right.
I mean, even growing of vegetables, harvesting of vegetables, picking them, transporting them, processing them, there is inhumane conditions involved for the humans involved.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Farming.
So for me, right, and so I'm like, I don't eat meat. Neither of us, and I'm literally for years I not wanted to give up dairy because just I'm human, I love the flavor, and it's not sitting well with my stomach, so I'm giving up dairy, right? Not even for other humane reasons, it's just for that. But when I start going down this rabbit hole of nothing without suffering, so unless we go do our own backyard garden, it makes it very hard for me to, is that spinach? If I start over analyzing, I won't even buy a single thing. And I've done it.
Right, and that's where we start talking about farmers markets and shopping more local. And I think those kinds of conversations are the ones that I'm interested in having with people, because I get attacked a lot. I get made fun of a lot. I had a little mini can of Coca-Cola at work the other day, and they had a field day about, can you even have that?
Oh my God, no.
And I'm like, yes. And they're like, well, I thought you were like vegan and super duper healthy. And I'm like, I'm human.
And see this expectation of putting people on a pedestal and then ostracizing them by saying, if you want to stay on that pedestal, I'm like, don't put me on the pedestal.
Right. Isn't that a can?
Yeah.
All of those things are like, I said that there was an Aston Martin parked outside, and I was like, whoa, you don't usually see Aston Martins in your parking lot. And I'm like, whose car is that? And then I get the response like, isn't that some representation of capitalistic da-da-da-da-da? And I'm like, if you want to talk to me about those things, I would love to talk to you about how I feel about car culture.
Yeah.
But I don't think you really want to know.
No, they are mocking. They are trying to make you uncomfortable. They are unable to. Here is where we've talked about this different stages of human emotion when it comes to interacting with people. They're not remotely trying to understand.
No.
They're not even tolerating you. It starts with intolerance, and intolerance can come in very hard hate crime, written crime, or passive aggressive shit. This is passive aggressive patronizing shit.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Tolerance is literally shut your mouth and tolerate that person and their choices. And acceptance is, hey, everybody is figuring out their place in this world, and we can't, no matter how much we try, the way the earth is today, the way that we have created the world today, even if you want to, very, very hard for us not to participate in things that have difficult practices involved in it.
Right.
If you guys have not watched the show, the good, oh my God.
The Good Place?
The Good Place?
Okay.
Incredible. Gotta watch it.
I've seen episodes. I haven't watched the whole thing.
Finish the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
Especially the last few episodes. It literally is driving the point that there is no way for you to get good karma points, even if you try insanely hard, because basic things that you do involve just you in Earth right now,
yes,
in this planet right now, involves already the foundations and institutions set, run by the methods of bad practices and all of that kind of stuff, right? It's so ingrained in everything we do.
And I try to avoid the binary thing, the good and the bad.
Exactly. I mean, phone.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm in the tech world. Sorry.
Yeah.
Need this. This is, I got everything about my life in this. You got everything about your life. Everything from contacts to bank accounts to medical stuff to travel things. Like, I got everything in this. I also know the inhumane practices that go in tech factories.
Absolutely. And what's happening in the Congo.
Polluting, right? And the polluting effects of this, the mental, psychological effects of social. I know all of this shit. But we live in this world. So you gotta balance out, right? Impact. Like, you can't always be, oh, you preach that? I'm practicing. I'm trying to practice.
Right. And I think that's
I'm so sorry you had a passive aggressive office.
I mean, it happens to me often. Yeah, why don't you choose the next one? You know, it's just something we navigate.
Yeah.
I try not to react in that way. I try to just coach people through their own maybe immaturity. I help you grow because I'll sit in uncomfortable situations.
Yeah. I really like this question. I've been eyeing this question and I think it might take us a bit to get here, all of us as humans, but you want me to read it?
Yes, will you read it to me?
Lo, what do you think is your purpose in life?
This says, what do you think your purpose is in life?
Oh, my life. Oh my God, I think oh my God, this is actually, we'll put the my life part for the second part of the question. I do want to hear, what is your purpose in life? Myself for connecting people.
So I kind of piggybacking off of what I said previously as being a vessel, I like to view myself as a bridge of bringing people from one side to another, to connecting people, to connecting them with the natural world, to connecting them with their truth and maybe, you know, the multitude of truths that exist in the world. I want to be that kind of light reflected onto things. And I think that's my purpose, because the more that I talk to people, the more I see it as illuminating and elevating. And then also grounding. Like, I talk to people all the time just about, you know, knowing the moon cycle at the time, or have you seen the sky outside right now, or this plant is blooming right now, or did you know that this plant is medicine right here and you could use it for this, or that right over there, you could eat that in your salad. You know, I like to be that bridge. And even for understanding during arguments, I find myself being able to be a neutral third party and help bridge gaps.
Yeah, and I think you do a phenomenal job of it.
Thank you.
Not everybody is open to having a person I love that about you, because it's important to make people both comfortable and uncomfortable by making them question things just a little, and you find that right balance.
Right.
Yeah, I love it.
But now I would like to hear yours.
No. Finish it. Your purpose in my life.
So what I've noticed is you are so comfortable in playing roles. You know, like you're very comfortable in what you do at your job and what you're supposed to do there. And you're very comfortable at the Pilates studio and what you're supposed to do there. And I think my purpose in your life would be to allow you space to be here now and be you, and to fully be embodied as an authentic part of yourself. Because when you're with me, I feel like you're able to be more encouraged to be the robust Sharda.
Not just a slice of me for a particular reason.
Right. You're not performing here.
Oh my God!
So.
No, I love her. That too on my birthday. Last week, but still continuous. Is still in the. Oh, that is amazing. I think it's holding true too. It really is, because I do get to sit here and talk to you about anything and everything. We've talked about deep depression and suicidal thoughts too. We've talked about wanting to live in a mountain cabin and
you wanting to yeet yourself off a cliff when you're
no, I want to feel no pain.
Oh, okay.
I ain't jumping. I'm not drowning. I'm not jumping. I'm not. No, I've already
a peaceful one.
I'm. This is one of the reasons why I'm collecting people around me, so that I know who can help me with a peaceful sleep. Final sleep. But yeah, I definitely want to call my shots, and that's the thing. You are very create the safe space for me to be so much myself that I continue discovering myself.
It's an honor.
Amazing. Tough question, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Makes you think.
I want to hear yours. What do you think your purpose
in your life?
In yours and then in mine.
Okay. I don't know yet. I think I'm trying to figure out my purpose in life, period. And I think for me is, as best as I can, lead by example, and lead an authentic me as best as I can, because I am very accommodating. I am insanely loyal to the people I love, to an insane amount of fault. So I am trying very, very hard. I want to lead by example, and it's not even people ask like what your legacy should be. I want to throw a party for myself. My last party, it's not, I'm not looking for anyone else to throw that party. I want to throw a party for myself. And I'm like, come, speak about me, because I want to know what people think. I don't want to just hear the good. I want to hear the bad and the ugly. I want to listen to feedback. I want to hear what I say and do, how somebody else is receiving. And I want to see whether I'm able to hear it right and well, and whether I can act on it. Whether that is because my intent was right and they are not. If you don't hear feedback, you can't gauge whether that person and the connection you have is the right fit for you. Are you being yourself, or are you performing for somebody else, right? So I'm hoping that's my purpose in life, and I'm working towards that. There is no perfect, obviously, so a little bit. My purpose in your life.
Yes.
My God, this is a tough one. Oh, I'm not even great with words like you are, and I'm feeling so much anxiety now in explaining this shit.
This is my perception of it. You've invited me to be more confident in being myself, because for a long time I felt like I can only be expressive or be held in my own way in certain situations and with very few people. And you came into my life and you were just like, no, you're unbelievable. Don't stop.
Yeah.
Be you. Come here. Do this. You're doing great. And that was really powerful for me. You made me feel like I could step into my power and not be apologetic about it. And I think you have that power in a lot of different realms, and not just with me, but with so many people that get to encounter you. You really empower those people to stand in it and do it. And I want to say that you writing your book and you having all those different perspectives on coaching and consulting.
Potato, but yes.
Yes,
all of
potato,
them.
tomato. I know I'm not using your words, but you having that it's so important.
Yeah.
And it enriches the experience of so many of us that get to be in your orbit. So thank you.
I mean, again, phenomenal with words, and you explain things in a way that makes a lot of like, oh my god, I wish I could say it that way. Yes, she got it. Like it is beautifully clear and crystal and concise, and I love it, and it's also very, very touching. It's also helping me formulate a little bit of my purpose in your life. While all of that is wonderful comprehension, or and I love getting the feedback part of it. I accept people unconditionally, and I want to, therefore, once you hit that acceptance level, I want to understand. And you allow me to understand you because you're actually open to talking about it. And that is my purpose in your life, is I want to be that sounding board where you can completely be yourself and allow yourself to be understood. Because us understanding ourselves is the first thing, and that requires us to overanalyze, permutation, combination of different things. Is it that thing? Is it this thing? Is it that word? Is it this instant? Is it that reaction? So I want to create that space where I'm like, no, I want to listen. I want to hear what you have to say, and your way of looking and your lens through which you look. That's my purpose, where I'm your sounding board. I'm your safety zone. You can come and bullshit with me any day.
Thank you. Because it's really special to me, because I'm not used to having that in like sisterhood and having, adult new friends, because that can be really scary.
Very.
So I just, endlessly appreciate you and the space that we hold.
And I will tell you our purpose in together as an entity in our life. I want to say that too. Okay. But I think we are working towards it, and I don't know where we are going to go, but I want to manifest this. I want us to create through this a group, a community, a movement, where small little sections where we go create this space for others.
Yes, and to explore and to have this like bubble space of, you're not gonna get it right, you're gonna stumble, you're gonna make mistakes, you might say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And we're here to cushion that. We're here to let that growth happen, because if you stay locked inside, how will we ever know who you are?
Absolutely.
And how will you ever know who you are? So
I want us to create that. I want to manifest creating that, and it's not in the digital sense at all. Yes, I know we are recording, putting it out there, and I think we're just getting comfortable.
Yes.
Exploring our own pieces in life with each other. I think our new year, we should go do this and create a little group in a community center.
Yes, a meetup.
A meetup of sorts, a community center with 5 other people, because 7 is the total I want.
Right.
7 is my number.
I love that.
Okay. 16, my birthday, adds up to 7. The number of letters in my name adds up to 7. 7 is my number, lucky number 7. So 5 people, which also is the pancha, which is the 5 senses and whatnot. Right. So our influence and our, element to bring 5. I want to create that thing. I hope we get to do this. We won't record it. It is going to be intimate.
No. Yes.
Our conversations, we will open up and we will talk about some topics we speak there, but I want to make that happen.
I love that, because I've been thinking about that for a long time. So I yes, absolutely. I think spring will be a great debut rollout.
Yes. And I think absolutely we should find a way to figure out a few people to bring together. That should be also not necessarily just friends. It can be from people within your life, but it needs to incorporate.
I want to see different people.
Correct.
Right, and I think that's going to be really powerful.
And different age groups. I want to go a little bit from a college man. You broke something?
Get that? No, my phone's.
Oh, easy to get it. I hope. We'll see. Otherwise,
I do have to time check real quick.
9:22.
Okay, beautiful. Sorry.
What's our next question? So, is this all two-person conversation?
Yeah. So we can read a little bit more about this. So when you're doing these cards, it says sit facing one another with a comfortable distance. Choose an equal number of random cards. Take 30 seconds to relax and look at one another, and then alternate in asking your questions.
Oh, this is great for two people working on their relationships, no matter what stage you are in, okay? Whether it is a personal relationship, professional relationship, friendship relationship, we are testing this out with each other, being each other's most comfortable, safest people. So it's interesting to read some of these things with each other, but why not? Okay, I picked a healing card.
Okay.
So this was a amusing card. Though I don't think anything with our answers were amusing, it was amazing.
I agree.
Not amusing. It was phenomenal answers. Okay. What do you think is the biggest challenge I face regarding our relationship? Might want to change this up to other relationship we should explore. But okay, we'll start here. What do you think is the biggest challenge I face regarding our relationship?
I think it's kind of mutual for both of us. I think it's the time. Right? Because there's so much more we want to do with it. And then we get, once a week. Even inconsistently. So yeah, and it's having that energy and the space to be present, because sometimes that's really hard for you and I to achieve. Me personally, that's my biggest struggle.
This is a great question, in all honesty, especially when you're dating. If you're in a relationship, couple, throuple, doesn't matter, they, he, she, combination doesn't matter. Because you talk about time that we want to spend with each other, right? And it is a challenge. But we never make the other person feel that you should prioritize this, right? We know we are a priority in each other's life. We accept we are a priority. We see good intent from each other all the time.
Right.
And we start with that place. We start with seeing it is of good intention. We start with saying there is a reason why today is not happening and we are not able to meet.
Right.
Could be because, I'm not feeling up to it. Could be because you got a meeting. It could be because I got a meeting. It could be because I have to travel. It could be because it's a sick day. Doesn't matter what it is. Is an explanation warranted? The moment you put the onus that you need to explain why something is not what the other person wants and they have to accept it the same level as you do, very hard. Very hard. And much harder with people who are choosing to be, when you say, I want to be with you as a couple, the amount of time you're telling you're going to spend with each other, space, money.
Yes.
It's a lot. And so as a partner, if you're spending on something, and especially if you're not an earning partner, having to go tell and creating this dynamic and narrative in your relationship where the trust and respect is eroded to the point where I, as the non-earning member, have to go explain to you why I am spending where I am spending. Because money is a big...
It's huge.
We
rely on it.
We rely on it. And I love that, yes, we are friends. We find immense pleasure in hanging out with each other and, depth in talking, and we laugh a lot. The way when the camera rolls, I don't know, we get to serious topics. But I think this is a phenomenal card. You have to ask yourself, what do you think is the biggest challenge I face regarding our relationship? You gotta ask yourself this. You gotta be honest. It's gotta be more than a few, but eventually it will all distill up to one thing. It will all distill up to one thing. And that one thing you gotta figure out, where is that mutual, we use the word love way too much to put so many other things under the rug. If you love me, you will make me understand. Nobody needs to make anybody understand.
No. I think this is important because it also gives the complexity of you're not getting to think about your challenges. It really has the compassion to see what you see in the other person. Like, what is the biggest challenge the other person faces in your relationship? And then I think it kind of stands you on your head and makes you consider. And I think when you're talking about like kind of maybe romantic relationships, just relationships in general, there's this underlying fear of when are you going to decide that something I do is a big enough mistake that it would end our relationship. I think that there's a lot of fear on making those mistakes or becoming a problem or being a burden, or if I'm not available, is it going to hurt your feelings?
Guilt.
Yes.
Right? That
and shame.
Guilt and shame, and it is perpetuated. Isn't it not perpetuated?
Yes.
Like, why did you do this without asking me?
Oh my gosh. Or
why did you take a job without asking me? Why do you do these are real things, y'all.
Why didn't you answer when I called you?
I couldn't answer. What were you doing? I don't need to tell you.
Like,
why is that entitlement in a relationship existing?
And I think that's something that's really important to bring up is the entitlement, and something that I try to understand more and more as an adult is I'm not entitled to anyone's time. If anyone gives me their time, it's a gift. If at any point that, I depend on you, I do expect some level of reciprocity. That's a trust thing though.
Yeah. At least respond.
Absolutely. And then if you can't, get back to me at some point and let me know, like, hey, I'm so sorry, this and that. And that's a mutual respect thing. And I think most of all of our relationships, and we talk about it a lot, should require that. And I don't think it should be seen as a demand. It's more of something that you offer people, because you also want that in return.
Totally. And small examples, y'all. I'm going to share an example, okay? Day before yesterday. And this is intention and actions. We don't even know how intricately interlaced they are unless you start unwrapping it and you actually have a conversation about it, okay? And if the other person is not open to having that conversation, it makes it very, very hard, okay? So my husband was open to having the conversation, but it was a tough conversation to even have because the topic was very, very, from the outside, silly, okay? His sister is visiting with her husband and her son. They stopped over for a night before they flew to Cancun. They live in the Bay Area. We went out for mini bowling. Okay. Mini bowling is you're not getting rental shoes, your own shoes. The ball is smaller, whatever. Okay.
I don't even think the pins fall all the way down. They're on a string, right?
No, they fall.
Okay.
They do.
Okay.
That part is fine, right? So it's a not a baby bowling, not lawn bowling, but it's actual lanes and whatnot. It's in the Andretti Grandscapes. We should go sometimes.
Would like to go.
So we're playing that, and my sister-in-law's son, as the ball was rolling back into our thing so that it can sit there. That's how the ball comes back, right? He stopped the ball because it comes with momentum. He stopped the ball from rising up. So balls started accumulating in middle, right of that thing. So I started walking to go get it. And my husband is like, why are you walking over there? And because I was going to go to the other side of the other lane that was not. I'm like, I'm going to go get the balls. It became a thing. right? You shouldn't walk on that. I'm like, we eventually had, like, it became a thing to the point where I constantly was saying what, again, very simple thing. And I'm like, I'm an adult. I can figure this out. I do not need to explain it to you.
Right.
Like, literally, don't need to. So I was, I let it go to give a good time to everybody else around there. And in the car, he could see I was still not okay with what happened.
Right.
And he's like, the next day we were talking about it. He came, first and foremost, he took the step to come and have a conversation.
Right.
He's like, hey, let's talk about it. And I said, I'm not angry. I'm not upset. But that is not acceptable for me. Just, And he's like, we are very comfortable with each other. You point out about my shoes and blah, blah, blah. And like, there is a level of entitlement there.
Right.
And you would not go to the next person on the next lane and say, hey, why are you walking over to take the ball? You don't even know what is happening. I don't need to explain every single thing. If you need to see around you and everything you have to understand, again, at the end of the day, I don't need to be questioned. I don't want to be questioned. It is the most silliest thing to be questioned. If I feel like I need to tell you something, I will tell you something. But that entitlement, as if you have a right to question everything. Why are you wearing that t-shirt? 100% if my husband walks out with a plaid shirt and we are going out somewhere, my face will react without me trying to react.
Mm-hmm.
Then he's like, what's wrong? Is this not okay? Well, now you're asking me, so I'm going to give you my opinion.
Right, it's an offer. Mm-hmm.
Right? But most of the time I don't say, but my face will say.
Yeah, I hear you.
I don't have a poker face when it comes to certain things. Right? But that entitlement thing, it's a very difficult thing.
Or having to feel the need to explain yourself. And I think that's something that you might have had from your childhood, is always having to explain what you were doing.
I don't think it's a childhood thing. I think it is a societal thing that we have established, that between relationship, you will check in and talk about everything all the time. And it adds up, y'all, on multiple things.
Autonomy is healthy.
Autonomy of thinking and action before anything else, which is why I think women have to be financially independent. 1,000,000%, no matter what. When I say financially independent, your husband can earn 200,000 and you can earn 50,000. Doesn't matter. But if you're not okay with living with that $50,000 and figuring out how to live life,
right,
that is a huge problem. If you have a great relationship where you've both figured out $250,000 living, awesome. But questioning on, didn't you just buy a black dress? Didn't we just get eggs? Didn't we just go on a vacation? Money is the biggest part where there is a lot of over explanation that happens.
And control.
Because that's where people are combining it. How the house is kept clean. How you parent.
Right.
And parenting is a very difficult thing when you have to constantly do it as a unit. And I think that is a wrong thing. Okay? You have to have a relationship as individual parent to the child. If the two parents don't have the same value sets, same elements of where they think boundaries need to be established, that's a very different conversation, right? How you establish should be different.
I agree.
Okay? Saying your bedtime is 8:30. How you establish and make that child follow the bedtime. Honey, you gotta hit 8:30, honey. It's important. Get to bed. I don't want to have a conversation. Your house. And if the one parent attacks the other parent or finds the other, I am being strict. Why can't you be strict? Why are you being soft?
Oof.
So these are small things. Watch within yourself. Which kind of, because if you have to parent as a unit, that means, are you using the same elements of behavior also to parent? Because that's not whose behavior then are you emulating together? Is it yours? Is it your partner's?
Right.
Can't be a combination.
And I think it also displays like to your children a complexity and a nuance of there's more than one way to do things. There's more than one way to accomplish things. This is the better way that I respond to things.
Correct.
And if you're only coming at it from one kind of uniformed front, then you're going to be missing a lot.
But it starts with the two people in a relationship not seeing that variation within each other, because they are like, it is uncomfortable and difficult for a person who doesn't have that personality to get why they do what they do. Even more so the impact of what it will have, because we are having two different impacts, right, on that behavior. And in the head, it might come across as good cop, bad cop. I hate that language. I hate good and bad. You just said it when we started. You know, there is no such thing as good and bad. Good cop, bad cop. No. You can have boundaries that you can clearly set. And you can still do it with trying to help your child understand why those boundaries are there. Not break those boundaries. Accept a no is a no. My kid will be more emotional, more feeling to me. Please, Mom, I don't want to do it, kind of thing, than with my husband. I'm accommodating of that. I would be like, there are times I'm like, bro, stop. But I'm finding there is nothing wrong in the way my husband is doing. There is nothing wrong in the way I am doing. Right. The problem is there is something wrong if both of us are trying to have conversation with my son and we both are expecting each other to behave the same way.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing, right? So, and if we can't respect that, that becomes hard.
It is, because you can't, and then what, you're enforcing a role. You're making someone role play.
Correct.
And that's inauthentic, and that's the last thing that you want to teach your kids.
Yeah, and then that child is not having a direct relationship with the individuals. They are having a relationship with the unit as two parents.
Right. And I'm not saying there's not times where you do need to have a uniformed front, because obviously there are some times that parents do have to come together, but I really appreciate that you have that perspective on autonomy, on the duality of parenting.
Correct. I mean, here is where you are always a united friend as long as the two of you are on the same page about what needs to be done, why it needs to be done, when it needs to be done, where it needs to be done. How you communicate it need not be the same.
I agree.
Because that's where I'm the bad cop. I'm the one always doing that. There is a difference between having a mental load, which women, we have more mental load, right? That men just dismiss and not even care about. That is one completely separate thing, versus I am, the way I tell you bedtime or reading time or sit for homework, the way I did homework setting for my son, I put it on the calendar. I said, I'm slotting every day, 45 minutes, homework. No electronics, you will sit at the breakfast table and you will do homework. At night, I just established lock all internet access and time on your iPad and iPhone and everything, and stops at 8. You will pick up a subject book and you will read for 45 minutes before hitting bed. Right? And I'm like, whatever subject you want to read, we'll pick one every week. I'm not going to tell you, but you want to choose this for Sunday, you want to choose that for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? Great. Got a few chapters, you got to finish reading.
Right.
So I am testing my own theories, but I'm noticing more of that. That's why when you ask me the question of what my purpose is, I am figuring out how to lead by example. That is truly where I feel.
So you stop and you read? Do you stop and you read at 8?
I do not.
Oh.
I do not. I do read. I don't do it at night.
Okay.
That is a time me and Hari will sit and talk, or we'll get chores done, or we'll sit and watch something together. I do not do that. But my son has seen me sit and read.
Okay.
He will see me here. I will pick up a book. I will read. It need not be at that time.
Right.
For him, the reason why we had a conversation, and the reason why I'm putting it at that time is because once you come from school and you make a kid who's just gone through school do homework, mentally they are already exhausted.
Yeah.
The parents who, every adult who works, right? And even at home, what you do is work.
Absolutely.
Okay? I'm not talking about just paid jobs. You know how hard it is for our brains to context switch all the time?
Yeah.
Very hard.
Absolutely.
Trying to pay the bills and you need to context switch to laundry.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's tough. You're trying to work on a marketing plan and you need to context switch to something operational. Very tough. You're working on a budget plan and you need to go fix a tech issue. Very tough. Like context switching. You got to prepare yourself a little bit on the context switching, right? Children are having subjects change and topics change on them every 45 minutes in school.
There's a lot of, and Ari's really expressive with it, just exhaustion of structure. So I like to let that decompression of
yes.
Like, can I just be right now?
Correct.
Because that's, she talks about it a lot. She's like, I'm at school for like 50 hours a week,
yes.
With after school care. And she's tired. She's like, can't I just relax?
Correct. 100%.
And I think that's important because how can I expect you to want to do it? How can I expect your brain to actually focus
yes.
on doing it or learning something?
Yep.
If you've surpassed your limit.
Correct.
Right?
And I think children at this age are surpassing that limit. Middle school especially is that very difficult transition time, and they're surpassing those limits. And the pressure we then start adding for high school kids, because they are participating in so many subjects, so many extracurricular, trying to get into college, trying to make friends. It's a lot of things that is overdriving their brains. So when AJ comes home, I'm like, chill, be. Okay? Twice a week he has tennis. 3 times a week he has tennis. But it doesn't start until 4:45.
Okay.
So he has a good, an hour decompressing, because he's also coming in the bus and he's hanging out with his friends and he's playing video games on his phone in the bus, like all of those things. Complete decompress. Don't talk anything about school. You do you.
Right.
When you come back, you shower, you eat, you sit for homework.
Right.
If you don't have homework, you go chill. 8 o'clock you're gonna read. Like, these are the kind of things I'm figuring it out myself, because I'm seeing him. I'm seeing the days to look. I am seeing the pressure of, oh my God, my grades are slipping.
Yes.
Right? I am seeing the pressure of, I don't want to work on my grades improving because it is exhausting mentally. He just said yesterday, during the week of 5 days, 2 significant topics are being taught in math. I'm like, hold on, what?
No.
Slopes and then something else. Like 2 separate concepts, new concepts.
And they're just powering through it.
They have to. That is, it's not even, they are powering. They have to power through it, is what they are being told. And they are expecting the kids to get it.
Yes.
It is a very demanding. I'm like, whoa, bro.
I watched it kind of similar this year with how quickly we went from multiplication into division and how fast it was. Now your child's struggling because they don't understand this concept. And I'm like, well, this is kind of a big thing. You told them how to do it one way, now you're going backwards, and I understand that maybe for some people that's really easy to conceptualize.
Yeah.
However, I think that if you took some time and explained it with a little less pressure, it might go better. And we worked on it, but watching the just whiplash of how fast.
Yes.
Okay, now we're moving past it, and if you don't get it, then you just fail.
Yes.
Part.
And no kid is failing. Every adult is failing in not giving the child time to absorb.
Right. And time at home is important.
Time at home is important. It is important to reinforce, but if you're changing topics so quickly and you're expecting and teaching in the same methodology to every kid, and you're expecting them to put the same level of effort here at home, but they are under pressure of performance all the time. Remove the pressure of performance, just let them learn. Very different ballgame.
I agree.
Like constant tests, constant thing, very different ballgame. It's a difficult thing, y'all. I mean, I'm appreciative of what he's going through a whole lot more now, because I work with my teams as a leader. I focus on not, I'm very aware of not excessively context switching my team.
I love that. I am sorry.
You don't need to apologize. Guys, this was a great conversation.
I agree, and thank you. Thank you.
These are phenomenal cards.
Again, these are from the Skin Deep. It's called The And. Yes, please give them the look, and we will put a link in the show notes. Also, not only with these cards and a little bit about the podcast that I learned about them from, but also about some different ways that you can donate to make a difference in the grand scheme of what's happening in the world. So I look forward to next week. And thank you all.